His messages were sweet. His words felt like poetry. I thought I had finally found the one. Until I woke up one morning and realized my bank accounts were empty, my photos were gone, and he had vanished. My name is Megan Caldwell. I'm 36 years old, and I'm ashamed to admit that I never saw it coming. I had been single for a while, too long, honestly. After my divorce, I stopped believing in romance. I poured myself into work, late nights, and empty routines. Then I met him. It started on Instagram. His name was Daniel Walsh, or at least that's what he called himself. He messaged me late one night after I posted a photo from a hiking trip. "Beautiful view," he wrote, "but not as beautiful as the woman in the picture." I rolled my eyes at first. Classic move. But something about his profile made me pause. He looked real, normal. His photos weren't overproduced or flashy. Just a guy in his early 40s, smiling with friends, holding a guitar, hiking, traveling. He seemed genuine. I didn't reply at first, but the next morning, he messaged again. "I hope I didn't offend you. I just wanted to say hello." Against my better judgment, I replied. That was the first domino to fall. Our conversations moved fast. He told me he was a freelance travel photographer, originally from Seattle, now living in Toronto, working on assignments across Europe and Asia. He was charming, polite. He seemed to listen, really listen, to everything I said. He asked about my job, my childhood, my favorite books, my fears, my dreams. For the first time in years, I felt seen. Within 2 weeks, we were messaging every day. Texts, emails, long phone calls that stretched into the early hours of the morning. He sent me voice notes, little videos of the places he visited, photos from his trips. Always with a caption that felt like it was written just for me. I was falling for him, hard. But Daniel had a way of making it feel natural, like we were destined to meet. He said he believed in fate, that he'd been waiting for someone like me. He made me feel like I was the only woman in the world. After a month, he started calling me his angel. Then came the first subtle request. "I've been dealing with some frustrating issues with my Canadian bank while I'm abroad," he explained one night. "They keep freezing my account for suspicious activity even though I've told them I'm traveling. I hate to ask, but could you do me a tiny favor?" He said he needed help booking a return flight to Toronto, just a short-term loan. He promised he'd pay me back the moment he got home. He sounded embarrassed, even ashamed to ask. By then, I was already hooked. I wired him $1,200 for the flight. He thanked me profusely, said he couldn't wait to see me in person. Days passed. He told me he was on his way back, that he'd see me soon. But then, another problem. His passport was flagged at immigration. "I don't know what's going on, Megan," he said, his voice filled with panic. "They're accusing me of fraud. They froze my accounts again. I just need to clear this mess up and get home." I felt sick with worry. He said the officials demanded a payment to release his passport and allow him to fly. It was a temporary security deposit that he'd get back upon clearing customs. He begged me for help, said I was his only hope. By then, I wasn't thinking clearly anymore. I wired him another $3,000. The next day, he sent me photos of himself at the airport, standing near an immigration desk, looking tired but relieved. "It's finally over," he said. "I'll be home tomorrow." He thanked me again, promised to take me on a real vacation as soon as he got back, swore I was everything he'd ever wanted. I believed him. But tomorrow never came. That night, his number stopped working. His Instagram disappeared. Emails bounced back. Panic set in. I kept refreshing every app, searching his name everywhere. Gone. Completely erased. I rushed to check my bank accounts. My stomach dropped. Every account I owned had been drained. My savings, my retirement fund, even my emergency credit lines, emptied. My photos and cloud storage were gone too. My social media profiles had been hijacked. I was locked out of everything. I went straight to the police the next morning, barely able to speak. Detective Sarah Larkin handled my case. Her face hardened as I explained everything. "Megan," she said, "I'm going to be honest with you. This wasn't just a romance scam. This was identity theft. You're not just a victim of a broken heart. You've been erased." She explained how sophisticated these scams had become. They'd used my trust to gain access to my entire digital life. Bank logins, passwords, social media, cloud accounts. Everything had been cloned and rerouted through offshore servers. I felt like I couldn't breathe. "How do I get it back?" I asked, tears streaming down my face. She looked at me with pity. "You can't," she said softly. "Not all of it." The next weeks were a blur of meetings with lawyers, banks, cybersecurity experts. Detective Larkin stayed in touch, determined to track him down. She believed the scammer wasn't working alone. "This isn't just Daniel Walsh," she told me. "It's a network." Then came the first breakthrough. The FBI found a match. Daniel Walsh was an alias used by a known scammer named Pavel Morozov, a Russian cybercriminal, tied to multiple romance and identity theft rings. He was highly sophisticated, using deepfake photos, stolen passports, encrypted phone lines. But there was more. They discovered Pavel had recently entered the United States under yet another alias, David Klein. Larkin and the FBI set a trap. They found that David Klein had been using an Airbnb rental not far from where I lived. I couldn't believe it. He'd been in the same city the entire time. I agreed to help. They instructed me to send a final message to the last known burner email linked to him. "I know everything. I'm not scared of you anymore. You owe me one last conversation." Hours later, he replied, "You're braver than I thought, Megan. Fine. One last coffee, for old time's sake." The meeting was set for a cafe downtown, under full FBI surveillance. I walked in first, heart pounding, then he entered. He looked nothing like the photos. Older, balding, cold eyes, but somehow still familiar. He sat across from me like it was just another date. "No hard feelings?" he asked with a smirk. Before I could answer, agents swarmed in and arrested him on the spot. They seized multiple devices and hard drives from his Airbnb. Inside were thousands of victims' data, stolen identities, bank details, photos, passwords. My name was there too, next to dozens of notes about me. Dates, passwords, even transcripts of our calls. He'd been studying me for months before he even messaged me. Pavel Morozov, David Klein, whatever his real name was sentenced to 40 years in federal prison. They recovered a small fraction of the money he'd stolen from all his victims. I got some of it back, but the real damage couldn't be undone. Now, I work with online safety organizations to warn others about scams like this. And every time someone asks me about love, I tell them the same thing. Sometimes the person who says they love you doesn't want your heart. They want your entire life.